Hi, this is Dr. Darwin, a new dentist coach with another episode of Ask Dr. Darwin, where you ask questions about getting into dental school, getting into residency, and life after dental school and residency and becoming a dentist. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the residency application support service, application service that's called through Adea. And we're going to give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tips and strategies about what's new about this new application that's going to help you be successful in getting into a residency program. Rhinberger, who's she is the pass application expert, guys, and I'm so glad we're able to have her on the within the first 24 hours of the new pass application being released. So she's going to share with us some of the 5 things that are new that will impact how you apply for your residency and have some more success in your candidacy for this year. So Emily, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do for Adea.
Sure. So I am the Senior Director of Application Services. I work with the 4 application services to the dental professions, including Adea Pass, which is the postdoctoral application support service, which supports a majority of the CODA accredited residency programs in the United States.
Wow. So that's big. So for those of you that are listening, this is pretty much for a lot of the D3s that are now rising into the D4 here. What PASS is, it's a centralized and secure online application service for all of the advanced dental education programs. And we're talking over 700 programs, many of which probably maybe about 85% of the CODA approved programs utilize PASS in some capacity. There are some programs that don't use a centralized application service like PASS, but the majority of them, over 80% of them do, which makes it great for you, for applicants who are applying to multiple programs. So it gives you one application centralized online that you can submit. Instead of having to submit to 10 separate programs, you have one application that gets sent out. Is that correct?
That is correct. Makes it easier for the applicants.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also there's some other new features that's going to make it a little bit easier for the applicant too. One of the things that's new for the new cycle, which just opened up yesterday, right?
Yeah.
There's 5 things that we're going to talk about that Emily's going to share with us. Again, guys, this is really key and important because whether you're applying to GPR programs, it's over almost 200 GPR programs. Whether you're applying to an AEGD program, which is almost 90 programs, or oral surgery, there's 100 programs. Pedo, there's close to 80 programs. Ortho, they're close to 70 programs. Most of these programs will utilize this PASS application service. So you must be very conversant and know how the application service works, what is required of you, so that you have all of your information to program directors when they're going through this process and selecting you for a residency. So Emily, let's dive in and talk a little bit about what's new. So the first thing that's new deals with some new displays. I think the new exam that's been out for about three years now, the ADAT, and also the National Dental Board scores. So that's news.
It is new. So PASS was rewritten in terms of new software this year. So it looks and functions a lot more smoothly from an applicant perspective. So the look and feel is different, even though the content collected, most of it is the same as in previous years. One of the nice things is that we're able to do some feeds of data like standardized test scores. So if an applicant has taken the ADAT or plans to take it, or has a national board score result, they can request those from the ADA, and that data comes through officially in the application.
Nice. So now you don't have to contact each of those separate testing agencies to have stuff sent, it's integrated into the application.
Yeah, so the applicant does have to collect the information in order to send it to Adea Pass. A lot of it, though, is electronic. And then we work to bundle the information and present it to the program directors in a way that allows them to make a review of standard information across applicants, regardless of where they're coming from.
Awesome. So that's the first new feature. The second new feature, let's talk about feature number 2. Which is a little bit different, definitely different. There are some custom questions that applicants can be asked and that they may be required to answer. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So this is one of the really exciting enhancements that we implemented in Adea Pass this year. Previously, a lot of programs had supplemental applications or additional requirements that they reached out to applicants and said, hey, we need some more information from you in addition to the Adea Pass application. And this year, we're allowing the programs to actually ask for documents and information inside of Adea Pass. So what that looks like to an applicant is when they select the programs they plan on applying to, there's actually a profile for each program that comes up. So it includes things like their match participation, their deadline, the program type. And it also potentially includes questions and documents collected by the program. This is the first year. Most programs are not taking advantage of this. So it's not adding a lot of additional time to an application to complete this. But we do have some programs that are asking those questions as part of Adea Pass. So it saves them a step, and the applicants have all of that information all in the same place. It's a new quadrant in the application. It's called Program Materials, and each program has a profile there. And again, the applicants can really clearly see if an additional document's required or if they need to answer certain questions.
Good. Okay. So custom questions. So the third new feature about the this year's application deals with the personal statements. Now, I know in the past, I think last year might have been the first time that there were some modifications about how an applicant can have maybe different types of personal statements. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that's similar or different for this year?
Sure. So we have allowed applicants historically to provide multiple personal statements. And we do that because some applicants might apply to programs in different program types.
Right.
So they're applying to prosthodontics programs and GPR programs, or they're interested in endodontics programs that they know somebody there versus an endodontics program they are a little bit more unfamiliar with. And so having one standard personal statement might be challenging, especially for people that are applying to lots of programs. Right. So the ability to have an essay per program is still available. And this goes in the custom area of the application called Program Materials we were just talking about. Now, an applicant can write one personal statement and upload it for every program he or she applies to, or the applicant can write multiple essays. Now, each program only gets one. So if you're applying to orthodontics and an AEGD, the AEGD doesn't see that you have an orthodontics essay in there. Everybody just gets one, but it allows applicants to customize their calling card to the programs to say, this is the information I want to present, even if that information is different for each program.
And that's key because I think lots of times candidates may get worried about, they're applying to two different types of programs, a GPR program and maybe an ortho program. But, and from a program director's perspective, it's okay. We rather have an essay tailored to the GPR program versus getting your essay or personal statement about ortho. So I think that's fine. And that's a great feature to be able to allow the candidates to have those types of personal statements. So that's the third one, the customization of the personal statements. So the fourth one deals with some enhancements. There's some enhancement with the application, some features that allow the applicants to know if they still have things to complete or if they are completed, etc. So let's talk about that.
Sure. So the new application is really visual, and it gives applicants a real visual indication of what is outstanding. So
Okay.
there's two parts that applicants should know. One is what we call the dashboard. It's the very front part of the application. We have 4 quadrants that have 4 circles, and the circles fill up with a green kind of highlight as applicants complete the information. So it's very clear in those 4 areas when an applicant has not completed information. That could be a document requesting their transcript, or it could just be that there's an address field that still needs to be filled in. So when someone's completing the application, all 4 of those circles need to be highlighted green. The second part is the status tab in the application, and this is a place where an applicant can see what has been requested. So this is evaluation and transcripts. And then what documents have been received. So if someone has asked faculty members to write letters and they have 3 outstanding, they can really clearly see that. And then they can monitor when those come in. Whether it's before they submit the application, they're waiting for those materials, or after they submit the application, and those materials are then added to their final application.
So good, some visual cues, which is perfect because we are visual students and residents, so that helps. That helps. Okay, and now the 5th and last update of what's new in this year's application is probably the one I think that you mentioned is probably the one that's been getting the most buzz.
Yes.
So I'm glad you guys are paying attention and listening all the way through. Don't skip any of this and continue to listen until we're completely done, because we got some advice as well. But the 5th thing that's new deals with the evaluation forms, or the letters of recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand there's been a lot of talk about this part, a lot of questions.
It has, and we've actually made some changes since the original list of requirements came out. So in past, there's always been 2 types of evaluations. One is the institution evaluation, which is done by the dean or the dean's office at their dental school. And this includes things like grades by year, if there's been any ethical issues on campus with the student, and then a traditional letter that's representative of that institution. Then there's the personal recommendations. We refer to them as professional evaluations, or PEFs. And that is a one-to-one evaluation. A faculty member, a mentor, supervisor would write an essay, a recommendation for that individual. What's new this year is that 3 are required of everybody. It doesn't matter what type of program you're applying to, every single applicant needs to have 3 of these professional evaluations. Okay. The change that has been more recent is that we've added the option for applicants to request up to 2 additional professional evaluations. So the total is 5, but the minimum is 3. The reason we did this is that there were some programs that thought that the specifics of who is writing the letter might change per program. And we don't want to disadvantage any applicant by limiting that. So 5 matches the number of professional evaluations we've had in the application previously. Okay. The big change as well is that those 3 to 5 evaluations are going to be sent to every program. There is not the ability, like the essay, which we talked about, customize it per program. Okay. And this was a discussion made with the Adea Pass Advisory Group, which was made up of program directors and admissions, student affairs officers that write some of these evaluations. We also looked at the data, and a lot of people weren't taking advantage of the opportunity in the past to customize them. They were all sending all of the programs the same letters. And so this is keeping with tradition, even though it's a different set of requirements for the application, that if somebody is applying, like we've talked about before, an ortho program and a GPR, traditionally ortho programs want to see somebody from their discipline write that letter, but that letter will be sent to all of the programs. So we encourage applicants and evaluators, as they're writing these letters, not to say, hey, this person would be a great resident at X residency program. It's more that they would just be a great resident.
Right.
And that letter will be sent to all of the places the applicant applies.
Right, right. And for those of you that are listening that are getting ready to get some of these requests out to faculty members, that might be something that you may want to share with them, or when they sit you down and have an interview with you prior to them writing a letter, which they should, hopefully they do, you can have that discussion and letting them know about that one change that's happening, that's new for this year for the letters of recommendation. So there you go, 5 of them. The new displays, 2, the custom questions, 3, the personal statement can be customized, 4, the application enhancements and cues and prompts, and then 5, the evaluations forms, the 3 plus the 2 additional that you can have. So those are the 5 things that are new. But also, there's some advice that we want to give you guys about, you know, how to craft a really good application implementing some of these new things that are here. So I'm going to share with you guys a quick video that I want you to watch. I'm also going to include it in the description down below. And then after we talk a little bit, hear from some of these program directors on how to craft a great application, Emily and I are going to share some advice, some quick 3 tidbits on this advice as it relates to this application. So let's go to the video real quick. And I will share with you this one. This is a good one right here.
Program directors get calls all the time. What could I do to make my application better? Be yourself. Because if I told them one thing, I have to tell everybody else that same thing, and everybody's going to be doing that same thing, and it's not going to make any difference. So they have to decide that for themselves.
Start early as possible. You don't want to wait to the last minute to start on the application process. If you know this is something that you're interested in, you know, that you're going to do, I would recommend that they start as early as possible.
I think you have to get started very early on your residency recommendation letters. It takes faculty quite a bit of time to compile those.
Get as many letter recommendations as possible. The more the better, I say. I don't only require 2 or 3. The more, the merrier. And you want a letter of recommendation from a professor or a dean who actually knows you personally. To interact with on a regular basis. I think we'll work better than just general letter of recommendation.
Write an essay that really comes from the heart, not what you think the program director or the committee really wants to hear.
Have others maybe look at your essay and make sure that it's as comprehensive as it can be, rather than just simply writing it and saying, well, that's probably good enough.
We want to meet a person based on their application. Once we know their story, they should make sure that their application shows the diverse range of experiences that might have changed their path and creates benefit in especially the third person.
That's what the program directors are interested in. Some programs may want the candidate to have a year or 2 of experience before they go back to school. Others want to take them right out of dental school. People should know this beforehand.
So there you go. Some good feedback and information. All right, so there you go. So next, some advice. So we've got a couple of tips. You heard some advice from some of the program directors in that short video. And I'll include that link down here, down at the bottom in the comments, in the description, so you guys can watch it over and over again. But also some advice. See, I think one of my first things I would tell candidates and applicants right now is it just opened up. The PASS application opened up yesterday. And, but you do not want to wait until a couple of weeks from now to understand what's going on. So my first bit of advice is to go in, sign up, and get familiar with the application. Find out all the different things that you need to add and upload, because that's going to help you as you're gathering all the information. But you've got to get familiar with it first, right? Don't rely on your classmate to tell you. Don't rely on some other faculty member to tell you, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for it. What about you, Emily? What's some advice that you may give?
Sure, so I'll piggyback on that. I think there's a sense that it opened yesterday. I have to get on it right now or I'll miss something. And there's certainly, you heard in the video, a lot of advice to do it early. But early does not mean the first 24 hours. And so I think your advice of taking time to know what's in the system is really important. We're not giving advice to apply tomorrow. It's to figure out what you need to do. The very first deadline that PASS allows a program to set up in the system is August 1st. Now, some programs do start reviewing applications before then, and so applying before the deadline certainly is helpful. But there's no program that participates in Adea PASS that has a June 1 deadline.
Right.
And so there's time to get to know the system, to look for advice from mentors or colleagues on your personal statement, and to really take the time to put together a winning essay.
Yeah, that's good. And then I think the second piece of advice that I was going to do is down below, you guys are lucky. I've included 5 different videos about this process, about the applications, some tips, and also there's a help, I guess it's called, what is it called? Like a help desk?
Help center.
Help center. There's an actual help center that Adea has put together to help you kind of walk you through the application process and different things that are components of it. Read that, click on the videos below, and again, become familiar with it. You can do it any time of the day. You can do it when you're working out. You can listen to the video or listen to the audio. But again, watch those videos so that you become the expert in this application process. Because guess what? You usually only want to have one time to apply to these programs if you're lucky. And you want to make sure that you have everything that you need to apply correctly, that you're not missing anything as well. Anything else you can think of, Emily, as far as advice?
Yeah, so I would point everybody who's thinking of applying towards the Adea PASS search engine. The search engine is a big profile of all of the participating programs. So I get a lot of questions, and applicants say, I only want to apply, I don't know, to non-match programs, or I want to know if this program is requiring the ADAT because I've taken it and I feel like that gives me an advantage. The Adea PASS search engine is a very long profile that includes everything a program requires. Do you need to send in a photo? When is the interview day? That's actually a data point in there that a lot of programs include. A description, a link to the website, everything is there. And it's searchable by state, by program type, and by institution. So learning the types of programs you're eligible for, what the requirements are to make sure you're familiar with the type of program you're applying to is going to be real key.
Yeah, that's key. And I know for those of you that are listening and watching, you've gotten a lot of information. I know it's a lot, but it's like eating an elephant. You know how you eat an elephant? You eat the elephant one bite at a time. So you have to take this part of the application process one part at a time, and then you'll feel more comfortable about it, and you'll feel more in command and confident about it as well. Well, Emily, thank you so much. This has been very helpful. I think a lot of people will now show a sigh of relief because they've got a resource between this video, this audio, and then also the links that are down below. They should have a very smooth process, and that's going to help them become a great candidate for residency. So again, thank you so much for your time and appreciate it.
Absolutely. Good luck to everybody.
Yes, good luck. And if those of you that are listening, if you have some more questions about this process that you want us to help you with, you can shoot me an email right here at newdentistcoach@gmail.com, newdentistcoach@gmail.com, and put in residency in the subject area. Put in subject in the subject area. You put in applying to residency, and whatever your question is, I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible within 48 hours and answer those questions. Again, Emily Rhinberger from Adea, thank you so much. And you guys check out this next video right here. There's 2 videos, one there and one right there. Check both of those out and make sure you watch them as well. Thanks again, Emily. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right, bye.